Hi, everyone. Welcome once again to our first session on data science and data analysis with Python. I must welcome you especially to our very YouTube channel. And for those of you who are new to this aspect, for the first time, you have nothing to worry about. You're going to learn a lot of things, going to get a lot of exposure. Either you want to begin your journey in data analytics or analysis, or even in data science. For the name, I am Williams. Let's go. All right, so we're going to take it slide by slide to ensure that you get an in-depth learning experience. First and foremost, I would like to open your mind to this new series because this Python we are talking about here, which is different from other data analytics tools you might know or data science tools. When I talk about data analytics tools, some of you are already conversant with tools like SQL, okay, structural query language, which are also there for you to use. Either you're a data analyst or you want to be a data analyst. But right here, we are looking at Python, and it's good to note that learning Python sometimes, depending on your kind of person, okay, it might be difficult for you or it might be easy. I've seen some persons who will say, oh, when they were learning Python, they had this kind of challenge, or at their first impression, or they heard that learning Python or Python is a difficult sharing from my own experience, learning Python was extremely difficult for me. Okay, it was extremely difficult for me, to be honest with you, but it did not have to be that way, because I can remember then when I was in the university, because I studied accounting. Actually, I'm an accountant, and I had this passion for data science tools like this, and that's part of what made me to fall in love with this area. While I'm doing my accounting tasks, I'm also, practicing or relating to these data science applications. And today, with the passion and the time I spent learning and practicing these tools, I was able to become a successful data science consultant. And not only that, that's also part of what, have also led to me being able to build Miramar Consulting. So I also want to bring it also to your notice that we have a lot of exciting courses here in Miramar, which you can also take part of, which will help you build different kind of projects by the time you're done. And our trainings, our sessions are not boring. You can take that from me. They are not boring at all. They are not boring at all. Okay, so if I could also practice and master these tools, definitely you can. And that's why I want you to follow the steps I'm going to be sharing with you. I want you to follow the different techniques and methods on how you can be able to learn these applications. And trust me, it would have, it's going to fast track your training and learning pattern, because this is a training that thousands of people have benefited from my training sections, and of a truth, in just hours, it prevented them from a lot of stress, and it also made them to realize that actually they can learn tools like this in just a few period of time. So let's go together. All right. So first and foremost, what you'll be learning in this session, the first thing is introduction to using Python. Introduction to using Python. Now, one thing you need to know is that Python is a high-level and general-purpose programming language. It is even a very popular language, which I know you have heard of it. Okay, and we have the latest, which is Python 3, which is also being used. Python is used in web development. While there, it's used in machine learning applications. There are a lot of cutting edge technology in the software industry, which, Python is highly regarded. So Python is a language that is being used by almost all tech giants companies. For example, you can think about a tech giant at the moment, like Facebook. Facebook uses Python. You can think about Instagram. We all know of Instagram used for promotion, and businesses uses Instagram for a lot of things. And tech giants like Instagram also makes use of Python. Google also makes use of Python. Amazon makes use of Python, and a lot of them. For instance, we know of Uber. Okay, a lot of us. I'm a Nigerian in my country, Lagos State, where I stay. Uber, Bolt. These are well patronized because they are well on demand for people to move from, let's say, from Lekki to some parts in within the island section. They need to use Uber for easy means of transportation. So Uber, such transportation kind of business uses Python also, and that's because of the strength that Python has. So I can say that one of the biggest strengths of Python is that it has this collection of libraries, okay, which I'll be sharing with you, okay, which are very important in this our meeting today. So please, this is Python, and this is just basically what Python entails, which is very important. But yeah, I would want to also point out something quickly, which is important to note concerning the issue of data science, data analysis. The reason is because time to time, I discover that a lot of our participants are not able to differentiate. They seem to see data science and data analysis as the same thing. No, as I always say, that data analysis, or you can call it data analytics, okay, because data analysis is also known as data analytics, okay. Now, data analysis, which is also known as data analytics, or depending, I have said it numerous times in previous of our classes. For those of you who have followed some of our videos, lectures, you would hear me say that they are terminologies, okay? They are terminologies that they have same goal. So data analysis or data analytics, can be described as the science of analyzing raw data to draw informed conclusions based on the data. You can even see data analysis as a technique that typically involves multiple activities. For example, as a data analyst, it's part of your duty to gather data. Okay, so where you're performing activities relating to the gathering, relating to the aspect of data cleaning, okay, the cleaning of your data, relating to organizing your data, all these processes, okay, which are part of what data analysis evolve around, okay, and okay, all these kind of processes or techniques are what data analysis is all about. And it is necessary that as a data analyst, you're able to understand all the different processes because they are necessary for you to be able to prepare those data that will still be needed by a business or by an organization, which definitely they would want to draw insight from it, which is very important. But when it then comes to the issue of data science, what is data science now? Now, data science is a branch of computer science where we study how to store data or how to use data or how to analyze data for deriving information from it. So you can see the difference between data science and data analysis. Data science, we are now looking at that branch of computer science where we study how to store data, how to use data, we study how to analyze data for deriving information from it. But when it comes to analysis, we are now looking at the techniques, which is very important. Okay, because those techniques now involves multiple activities, which I've just listed: the gathering, cleaning, organizing of your data. So it's very important on this very first session, which has to do with introduction to using Python. It's important that you understand because we are looking at it here by the data analysis with Python as well as data science, which is very important. Now, before I go on, what is at the heart of all what we are talking about, okay, is data. Even Python, we are still using it for data. And I kept saying that if you are to ask me what is data, I will just tell you data is anything. Data can be a discussion, data can be anything. So it's left for you to go and sort out what your data is. For me, data is anything. Okay, now you must also know to have a concrete understanding, even as we explore Python in this new series, which is going to be, an interesting adventure. Okay, it's also important for you to understand, because this is like the foundation, the ingredients that you need to know. That's what we are focusing on in this very first part of this new series. Now, it's important for you to note that data comes in different structures. We cannot say data is anything. We cannot just move on to say that data is at the heart of all these applications without understanding the different structures, which could be called formats, okay, in which data comes. So you must know that data comes in different structures, different formats, and different types. For example, you have heard of big data. You've heard of the word called big data. Now you must know that big data is one of those structures. It's one of those formats, or you can call it one of those types in which data forms, in which data comes. Now, when we are talking about big data, what we normally refer to is just which data set, large data set that continues to grow. Now, not those kind of data you have in Excel, okay? And you say that this data is more than 1,000. No, those, not all kind of data like that can be classified as your big data, provided there are criteria, provided the data continues to grow at an exponential rate over time, then you can classify it as what? Big data. And concerning this, there are 4 fundamental blueprints, which I normally share in classes. There are 4 fundamental points you can use to know if this data is a big data. Now, what are they? Number 1 thing you use to measure this is volume. Volume. Look at the data. What's volume of the data? Number 2 is varieties. Okay, variety. Number 3 is velocity. Look at the velocity. And number 4 is what? Variability. So this, you can give an acronym so you can remember as what? The 4 V's. The 4 V's. And don't forget what I said, that by volume, you're expected to look at the quantity of the data. What's the quantity of the data? By velocity, you're looking at the speed of the data growth. I told you that it must continue to grow at an exponential rate over time. So that looks into the aspect of what we call velocity, because you as a data analyst, okay, or a data scientist must be able to measure your data in terms of this velocity aspect, because you need to know the speed of the data growth, okay? And also by variety, I'm talking about the different sources of data, Our existing old students should be aware of this variety, that data have different sources. So you must also look into that. What are the sources? Because that also plays a role to that data having, which sets. And we have different sources like the web and other sources, which are also important. Could be SQL source, could be different sources, could be and the common source like Excel and so on. Okay. Then in the aspect of veracity now talks about the quality of the data. The quality of the data. The quality of the data is very important. That's reliability, which is veracity. Talks about the quality of the data. You must be able to also measure it in terms of that aspect. That's you trying to determine if it provides business value or it does not provide. It's important because every business are looking for what to, being able to gain insight from that data. So it's important. So this is one of the structures of data. That's big data. The second is structured/unstructured data. Okay. Now, when we are talking about structured data, we are just talking about a data that is structured, that is clean, a data that is in a predefined settings. Okay, it is in a predefined settings. At that point, we are referring to it as what? Structured data, because it's good to go at that point. But unstructured data now is that data that now is like the opposite, that comes in a format that is not predefined. Now, what do I mean? Maybe you're given a particular data to analyze, and you notice that there are blank spaces within that data. We can't call that data a structured data, because it has things that have already disqualified it, like those blank missing data which are there. So that is an unstructured data, because it can't fit into the role, it can't fit into the column, it can't be used anyway. Or instead, you are to apply different treatment techniques on those missing data. Either you want to use the list-wise case method, or the mean substitution method, or you want to use the pairwise method for treatment of such missing data issues. There are a lot of issues that could arise, like duplicates and so on. So those are just the difference between structured/unstructured data. Then we have metadata. Metadata is now the form of data that describes and provides information about other data. For example, metadata for a picture. Okay, let's say you can see my picture here. Metadata for this picture can include the name of this the person in this picture. What type of picture is this? We have JPEG, we have different type of picture. Those who are photographers knows better. Okay, the date this picture was created. If you snap a picture, there's always those information being maintained. So when we are looking at those kind of information, we are now referring to it as what? Metadata. So one good thing about metadata is that it enables users to organize unstructured data into categories, making it easier for them to be able to work with it. And it's interesting because I do this often, and it's part of what makes the task easier. Then we also have the aspect of real-time data. Okay, real-time data. When we say something is on real time, that means it is presented as it is acquired immediately. So you can see that storage data is very useful because it's current. And it's important, that you, for example, you could have a business and want to know how your business is performing. Of course, you'd want to use your most active record at that point in time. That is real time. Then lastly, we have machine data. And those are, you all know of machine learning and a lot of them. So the machine data is one type of data format, or in which data also comes, because it looks into the aspect of machines. Okay, machines. For example, data can be automatically generated by systems or other machines, okay, like cars, smart cars. There are a lot of AIs and other things. So this type of data is known as machine data because it is produced by machines without human interference or human instruction. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very important. And to conclude these issues of data introduction, you also need to know that we have two primary methods for data analysis. Those are the qualitative data analysis method and also the quantitative data analysis method. You can call it method, you can call it technique, they all mean the same thing. So ladies and gentlemen, this is important for you to take note of. So in order to have, and be able to have that exposure, okay, as regards data, most especially for beginners who are just getting to join these sessions. So let's proceed to the second. Now, talking about Python, how do you download and install Python? How do you download and install Python as a data scientist or as a data analyst? Now, I'm going to share with you two simple techniques on how you can download Python. And if you remember, I told you before now to get your system ready, that after this very first session, this very first part in this series, I expect you to download and install Python on your own with this guide you'll be going through right now, so that in our next part 2, which I want you to subscribe to this channel so that you can be notified when the next session is released, you should have downloaded and installed your Python, so you'll now be practicing. So let's look at how to download and install Python in the next slide. Good. Now, I want you to know that I have provided 2 ways you can download. The first way here is Python distribution method. Okay, we have the distribution method. And if you look at my screen, I pointed it clearly that this is the complete set. This complete set. And of course, when I put 100, you know what I mean by 100. And that this is the best method which I recommend every data scientist and data analyst to use whenever they want to do what? Download and install Python. Now, I'm going to tell you the reason why this is the best method for me. Now, the reason why this is the best method for me is because, okay, let's say since you're a beginner, okay, now you need to know that there's what we call libraries in Python, libraries. For example, you might want to be able to visualize your data. There's a library for that. Time to time, participants ask, sir, is it only Power BI that can do the tasks of data visualization or Tableau? No, you can also do that in Python using a particular library. Now, this library to be imported into this Python application, Okay, now it now matters how they come together, because if you are to use the Python distribution method, you don't need to start looking for a way to install those libraries one after the other. No, you don't do that. But when you're using the direct method, it is the direct method that you now have to be following a long process, whereby after downloading it, you then start doing what? Downloading all those libraries that you need one after the other. Can see between the two, Python distribution method is straightforward. It goes one, as you're downloading it, you don't need to start installing the libraries one after the other. But when we are talking about the direct method of downloading and installing Python, so in which once you have downloaded, okay, you do what? You have to move straight again and start downloading your libraries one after the other. Now I'm going to show you, of course, you saw my the emoji I used here. If you use this method called the direct method, okay, where you're downloading Python directly, okay. If you're using that method, that means you want to waste time. And as a data analyst, you don't need to waste time. So let me just show you the two methods. Though the two are still good, they are still good. But if you catch my flow, I said for direct method, you still have, after downloading and installing it, you then have to go and be installing or downloading those libraries one after the other. But for the Python distribution method, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that because it's a procedure. Okay, so we're going to cover up everything in the next 10 minutes. So let's flow together. So for the Python distribution method, if you want to download your Python with the Python distribution method, you will go to this website called anaconda.com. So that's what you will do. So for those of you, your system is in order. So what you're just going to do for me is to go to anaconda.com. So let me just go straight to my browser. You can see my browser right here. So I'm just going to open a new tab and type in Anaconda. So let me just say anaconda.com. Okay, so this anaconda.com. So whenever you want to download Python using the distribution method, okay, the distribution method, you will go to anaconda.com. I believe that part is clear. You will go to anaconda.com. Now, when you go to anaconda.com, this is what you are now going to do. I love showing everything step by step. To download and install Python, there are two methods. One, the distribution method, and two, the direct method. The distribution method comes in full package. You don't need to go and be getting other packages called libraries separately. So it's a full package. But that of the direct method is not full package. Of course, you want package, right? Good. Now, to download using the distribution method, go to your web browser and type in anaconda.com. When this site opens, come down, you will see these options. Do you want to download it, your Python for Windows? This is Windows icon. Or for Mac, this is Mac icon. Or for Linux, you can see everything there. So if it's for Windows, I will click on what? Windows. I'll click on what? Windows. And it will load for me. So you can see right here, you can see it open here. So right here, you can see Python 3.10 for Windows. You can see 64 bits. So depending on your system, you then come and download it. If you're using Mac, you go for this. If you're using Windows, you go for this very one that we have here. Okay, so this for the distribution method. This for the distribution method. But if you want to go with the direct method, what do you do? That one, you go straight to Python website. So you open a new tab, you come over and say python.org, python.org. So you go directly to the Python website. So I'm going to show you how to do it. Sorry, I did not put N. So this something you also need to take note of. python.org. Okay. So this I think I spelled okay, it's correct. Yeah. All right. So this is the Python website for the direct method. So when you open the Python website by typing python.org, you come to downloads, download tab, come to Windows, you see it here, Python 3.11.3. So that's what you will now click. Bap. When you click it, you can see it has started going to where my downloads, started going to my downloads. But I don't want to download this, so let me just pause it since I already have it. So this is just it. But if you watch, now there's a difference. You watch, this one is carrying just 24.2 MB. Why? Because it's not a full package. Remember, after downloading it, you're now going to be downloading all those other packages one by one. But if it was this Anaconda, okay, the distribution method, you can see what size are you seeing? 786 MB. 786 MB, because it's coming with the full package. So it's left for you. Which one do you want to go for? If I'm in your shoes, I will want to go for Anaconda and through this anaconda.com, so that I can get through the distribution method. So this is just how you can download and also do what? Install. So don't forget. And also, please, for those coming to download through the python.org, the direct method, note that you cannot use it with Windows 7. Okay, make sure your Windows is from Windows 8 above, not Windows 7, in order to avoid issues. Okay, which is very important. And then for the Anaconda, please, you need to be patient, because it's going to take some time, like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on your system speed, your RAM. So please take note of that. Patience is required as a data analyst, most especially when it comes to the issues of installing and downloading and installing. Okay, so I believe this is fine. So these are the two methods. Anaconda.com, and download your Python for, you see the icon, how I illustrated, or you use the direct method. So let's move back. We are progressing. So let's go back. All right. So these are the two methods, the Python distribution method and the Python downloading direct method. Now let's move. Good. Now let's look at the next content we have, the Python libraries every data analyst needs to have. Now, for you to use your Python in a useful way as a data scientist or a data analyst, you must take note of these three libraries. I've told you these three libraries are very important. Okay, so they are very important for you. For example, trying to participant asked me, sir, how do we do data visualization using Python? It is this third one we call the Matplotlib. That's what you use whenever you want to take care of data visualization in Python. So you must take note of that, because Matplotlib is an open source drawing library, okay, which supports different types of drawing, type of visualization. For example, in Power BI and Tableau, you can generate plots, you can generate histograms. Same way using the Matplotlib, you can also do all that. Okay, it provides an ability to, it comes with different charts, just like different visuals that we have in Power BI. Okay, you can also generate your charts, different charts type, with just a few lines of codes. And those are part of what we'll be looking at in future series. That's why I want you to subscribe to this channel to stay tuned, because there are a lot of things you're going to learn. Okay, so the Matplotlib is what you use to generate, different charts, different bar chart, could be histogram, and so on. Okay, so all you just need to do is just to work with few lines of codes, okay, which is very important for you. And it is one of those features gives you the ability to play well with many operating systems. And that's why I love it. You can use it for many operating systems, many backends, which means that you can count on it to work of which operating system you are using or which format you wish to use. So the Matplotlib is very important. It's very important library that you need as a data analyst. Now, it's also important for you to understand that, like I said, that this is useful in data science, because data science is based on highly complex scientific calculations. And to perform these calculations as a data scientist or a data analyst, you need powerful tools. Matplotlib is a very powerful tool. For example, if I move over here, you will see one of those prepared graphs that I prepared using the Matplotlib in Python for a company. Okay, you can see it showing the sales trends. We talk about trend analysis in one of our classes. So these are just duties of the Matplotlib, and it's important that you are well conversant on how you can actually make use of that. Make use of that. Then the one we have also here is what we call the pandas. The pandas. It's what we call the pandas. And the pandas is also very important one that as a data analyst you also need to know how to use, because it is also a Python library used for working with data sets. For example, the pandas is used for data cleaning and analysis. So it's that aspect, is that library you use. It has a function for analyzing your data, cleaning your data, exploring and manipulating your data. So whenever you want to do that, and it's very fast and efficient when it comes to analyzing your data, or you want to handle in Python, this is what you use. You want to merge and join, this is what you use, okay? Or you are looking for a system whereby you can work with time series functionality, is the pandas you use. Then the last we have here is the NumPy. The NumPy is also very important because with the NumPy, you'll be able to use to process, multi-dimensional and single dimensional array elements. What I mean is just rows and columns. It reads rows and columns. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where we are going to end in this series. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoyed this first session, and don't forget to stay tuned for our next release. Thank you. You can visit our website stated here on the screen. Stay tuned and don't forget to download and install. Thank you.